What up, everybody? It's me, Derek Furlow Jr., and welcome to another section of the Ultimate Transition. I got somebody here with me today that's finna blow y'all mind. I got my boy, my brother, Chris Slim Walker. What's up, bro?
My dog. Man, appreciate you having me.
Man, I'm just thankful that I was able to get on the schedule.
Oh, man. It's busy right now, but it'll slow down soon once you get in the routines.
Hey, there it is. So look, man, I know some people gonna be watching this. Some people already know who you are, where you play, all the great things you done. But for the folks that don't know you, quick introduction who you are and where you play.
Chris Walker, originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Came to UT 2007, played for 3 head coaches in 4 years, you know what I mean? And never thought I would have come to a place, you know, especially at Tennessee's caliber, and had as many coaches as I had, you know, 4 position coaches, 5-string coaches, all that kind of stuff. So, but my time here at UT was incredible. You know, I grew up a lot, you know, spiritually, physically, obviously, maturity-wise. It was just one of those things that this place prepared me a lot. So
Awesome. He said some boy. Change. We're gonna talk about it in a minute, but it's definitely good to see you. And you're right, man. You came in, you was a boy, now you're a man.
Man, I was slim, like my name.
Slim. I got in that weight room, put on some weight.
Man, first month I was here, put on 15 pounds. I went home. Everybody was like, bro, what are you doing up there? So
Get right,
man. You eat, you work out, you go to class. That's all you doing this summer. So, but it was a definite change for me for sure.
That'll work, bro. That'll work. So as far as you, football, growing up, I mean, was football on the sport you play? Like, how did you end up falling in love with this particular game, man, that brought you to sport?
I'm actually a basketball dude, man. You know, growing up in Memphis does a few things, and basketball is one of them. My mom was a head coach for my entire childhood, so I grew up in the gym. So basketball was the thing. I started playing basketball, you know, as soon as I could shoot the ball to any goal, I started playing basketball. The funny thing about football was I never played football. My dad played in the NFL for the Cowboys, and he blew out both of his knees in football, and so he vowed to himself and to my mom when they got married that his kids, if he had boys, would never play football.
Wow.
Because he didn't want them to go through the same thing he went through. So I was playing basketball and baseball at the time, and it got to the point where now you got, you know, 8-year-old competitive travel baseball teams. Yeah. So I started, you know, playing competitive baseball, travel baseball, and I tried out for this one team and didn't make it, made it to the last cut and didn't make it. And I was devastated. So my mom, she called one of her friends like, hey, you got to get him on another baseball team, yada, yada, yada. He was like, no, forget baseball. Why don't you just bring him out to the football field? Because I looked like this when I was little, you know what I'm saying?
Boy, so, big all his life.
Big. So he was like, just bring him out to the football field. My mom was like, I don't know. You know, my mom and dad were separated at the time. So she called him and said, you know, I might take Chris to football practice. He was like, no, I'm not doing it. But she ended up taking me out to football practice. The dude brought me all the gear. I ain't have no football gear. And man, the rest is history. I fell in love with football the very first day that I played it. Because I said, you actually get to hit somebody and not get in trouble for it. So I was like, bet. So fell in love with it, man. Started playing, you know, when I was 8 years old. And it's just a game that I knew that if things went right, this game could change my life.
So thinking that, as far as knowing that this game could change your life, was that ever thought you had in basketball?
As I grew up and I saw the guys because I played AAU basketball until my senior year, going into my senior year. So, and we won a national championship and all that stuff in AAU. So I'm growing up playing well with these dudes. Yeah. But at a certain point, it was like, okay, I'm playing against guys as a center that are 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah.
I'm 6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I want to continue in basketball, I have to be transitioning to a guard. You know what I mean? And that's not what I wanted to do. And football was getting to the point where people were telling me, hey man, like this could get you to all the places that you dreamed of. And so it was one of those things that I still played basketball all the way through high school, but my focus to get to college and beyond was in football.
And what grade was that when the light bulb came on? You actually start focusing on the game of football?
I think it was my sophomore year. Man, I was starting on the varsity team as a sophomore, and so I started playing well. And I had a guy that was beside me, the middle linebacker at the time, was a very, very good player. So he had coaches coming in and out through Christian Brothers. And so when they saw him on film, they were like, who is this kid? They were like, oh, the coach was like, that's a young kid. He's going to be really good, yada, yada, yada. And so I started getting interest from these coaches and hearing from college coaches as much as you can as a sophomore. But my sophomore year, I had a coach that come in and said, if you listen to me and you work hard, I'll make you an All-American. And so I was like, bet. You know, that's what I wanted. That's what we all want as a high school kid, is to be an All-American. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now all of a sudden, this take me as far as I wanted opportunity was presented to you. But let me ask you this: what was the take me as far as I wanted to go? What was that end goal to you? What did that look like?
So my end goal, man, when I started playing football and I understood that my dad played in the NFL and I was seeing these people, like, that was the goal for me, is that I'm going to play in the NFL. You know, I remember telling my mom I was at a doctor's appointment when I was 8 years old, and my pediatrician, he was a guy that loved Tennessee football. And so he would always talk to me about Tennessee football, yada, yada, yada. I wasn't really a Tennessee fan, never been to a game, never watched them really. But he said something to me, and I told my mom, I said, I'm going to play for the University of Tennessee when I get older. And she was like, yeah, okay, kid, you know, knowing, because she was a Division I athlete herself.
Yeah.
And so she knew what it would take to get there. And, you know, a mother wants her son to dream and all that kind of stuff. So, but that was the goal. I wanted to go to college, and I wanted to go to college for free so that my mother wouldn't have to pay for college. And I wanted to go to the league. I wanted to go to the NFL. That's the goal. If you're an athlete and you don't have aspirations to continue further in what you're doing, then what are you doing?
Right.
And what are you playing for?
Right.
You can play rec football or rec basketball all you want.
You can go play flag.
You can go play flag if you want. But my thing was I wanted to go to college, play Division I football, get an education, and then go to play in the NFL.
That works right there. Hey man, you sound like you had a nice bloodline. Mom D1, pops, Cowboys. That's a bloodline right there.
Bloodline, man. Like, people ask me right now, they're like, how do you still like you can play some football? I was like, good genes, man. My mom is about 6 foot, my dad's 6'2", so it's like it was in my blood, man. I was gonna, if I figured it out and worked hard, I was gonna be something.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you had the target set, and then the target got achieved because you made it to the University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now, once you got here, you said something in the beginning that a lot of people probably caught up on. You said 3 different head coaches, 4 different position coaches, 5 different strength coaches.
Yeah.
So, before we even get into that, when you got here, how did you end up picking the University of Tennessee? Was it off the coach, or was it off, what made you decide this was going to be home for you?
So, to be honest, man, and people that are close to me know this, I was in love with LSU. Like, I loved LSU, and I had a plan in my head, you know, a little high school kid scheming how you could figure it out. But my plan was to take my official visits and to, you know, go to all these schools and then make my decision to go to LSU. Tennessee came in the game relatively late compared to everybody else. And so I kind of had a chip on my shoulder towards them. I was like, man, they didn't want to recruit me until everybody else got on me. But, you know, I gave them a chance. Coach Fulmer and the crew came to the crib, came to the school, and, you know, building a relationship. And I had never been to Tennessee before, but they got me to Neyland Stadium, and I was like,
it's a wrap for this guy.
Hold on. I came, you know, to the Cal game in 06, and, man, Meacham Meacham ball. They smacked them. The stadium was live. I came to the Florida game a couple weeks later. The stadium was shaking. I was like, man, if you don't want to play here, you know, and I had been to other places, but nothing was like Neyland. And so I had a mix-up in my official visit day to LSU, and then I was going to Tennessee the week after. So the LSU's coach said, man, don't commit when you go to Tennessee, just give us a chance. And I came up to Knoxville, went to the stadium, had the Jumbotron up, name on it, lights on. It was a wrap. It was a wrap, man. I committed the next day on the way home, getting calls from all these coaches. What happened? I thought we were good. I'm like, man, this is home. This is home. I was sold on the fact that, man, you're an in-state kid. You can be an in-state hero. You can put on for your state, and that's something I was about.
Hometown hero.
Hometown hero, man.
That makes sense right there.
Yeah.
So that gave you that feeling of, okay, you're right where you meant to be, and I understand where you're coming from, because I thought I was going to go to Georgia.
Right.
And it didn't even work out that way.
Right.
So they just let you know guys playing is bigger than our plans, hands down, across the board.
Hands down.
So just in case y'all didn't know that, That's the truth.
True.
So you get here, you got that feeling. This is where you meant to be, and then all of a sudden, changes happen.
Change happens, man. It was one of those things when I signed to come to the University of Tennessee. Obviously, they had just come off a year where they were really good. Had a lot of really, really good players, and they had a lot of players coming back. And so this is a perfect opportunity. And my freshman year, we went to the SEC championship. Lost to the eventual national champion in LSU.
Yep.
And went to the bowl game and beat Wisconsin, and we ended up 10-4 that year. And so, I'm sitting here like, this is a good year for us, man. This is a start of something that could be really, really good. And then some different things happened that next year. Didn't play very well, a lot of injuries, yada, yada, yada. And then coach gets fired. And so for me, I fell in love not only with the University of Tennessee, but with Coach Fulmer. Coach Fulmer came to my house, stayed for a few hours, didn't talk about football till the last 20 minutes of the visit. And so I was, he talked about, football's going to take care of itself. I want you to be a man. I want you to grow up. I want you to get your degree and change, your life for your family. And so for me, that was what I wanted. I wanted to play for a guy that cared about me as a person first and a player second.
Yeah.
And so when he gets fired, I feel like my dad is gone. You know what I mean? I feel like my family just swooped out from under me. And to be honest, I was about to leave. I wanted to transfer, and I had talked to a bunch of the guys in the class that we came in with, and we were all thinking about transferring. And I can remember seeing Coach Fulmer after all that happened, after it came out that he had gotten fired and all that kind of stuff. And I said, Coach, I'm not staying here. And he said, yes, you are. Coach Fulmer told me, you're staying here because you didn't come to Tennessee for me. You came to Tennessee for Tennessee. Whew. And he's the reason why I stayed, and we all, our class talked, and we were like, let's stick it out, bro. We came to Tennessee to see something amazing happen, so let's see it out. And so, but I never would have thought that I came to a program like Tennessee and with a coach like Coach Fulmer, who had won a national championship, multiple SEC championships, and appearances in the SEC championship. We had just come off a year.
Yes, sir.
In the SEC championship recruiting class that he was bringing in was number one in the country at the time. And so it was like, okay, but then it happens and you're like, so what's next? What's next? How do I deal with basically my world being flipped upside down and the people that I trusted not being here?
Yes.
So, and people, sometimes change can cripple people, man. If you're not ready, if you're not grounded, if you're not humble, if you're not mature enough to handle the change will cripple people because they're like, this isn't what I thought. So that's why you see kids that are transferring, because it's not what they thought. It's not what they want. So they're like, I don't like it, so I'm leaving. And I had that opportunity, but I think I made the best decision to stay at Tennessee.
Absolutely. And I believe that change was something that the game had taught you because a lot of times in the game, it changed. Whether momentum changed, whether the situation changed, whether everything changes on a regular basis. And that was something that you probably had learned from the game, but you hadn't learned it in life yet. And that was one of those life experiences that changed it, and you was able to deal with it the right way. So not only does the coach situation change the game, but it changed the life situation. But then it comes upon hiring another coach. And all the adversity and change to go along with it. How was that to you, and how do you feel you was more prepared to handle it based off what had happened on the front end of it?
I mean, I feel as a kid growing up, I had been through a lot. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 5. And so, my mom struggled to provide for me, and I have an older brother and a younger sister. So she struggled to provide for us. And what we did as a family was we decided that we're not going to let circumstances determine how we go after things. You know what I'm saying? We're going to continue to push, continue to do what we feel like we're called to do, and what we're passionate about, no matter the circumstance. And so Coach Fulmer leaves, I decided to stay. That's just par for the course with me. I was just like, cool. Like, let's push and see what the Lord has, and let's push and see how we can make this situation a one that we can turn into an advantage for me. So, but it did prepare me. The game prepared me. The situations in life prepared me, so that when the new situation came in, it wasn't like I was nervous. I was excited for the change. I embraced the change, and it ended up being that spring. Ended up being one of the best springs in football that I've had.
I'm 100% on board with you. You feel the new situation and you combined, how did you feel like you advanced in that situation?
Man, I think I